never done this before, actually. I've only done it through StreamYard and not through Zoom. Can you still hear me?
Oh yeah, and we're
Oh,
live.
cool.
Oh yeah. Streaming live on the YouTube. What? Streaming live on the YouTube. Yeah. Streaming. Oh, is that the intro song? I was no.
Right. Okay. So yeah, all this stuff needs done.
All the fun. All the fun. This is how the sausage is made, kids.
There's some things I've tried to do live that said YouTube won't allow you to do because your account won't isn't big enough or whatever yet. It's like once you reach 100 subscribers, then you can actually have like your own URL and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Lots of fun. So right now, we're talking to people on YouTube right now.
Well, we
Just letting
are,
them.
but I'm not sure
I
if the
know.
audio will carry through. It's only a blank screen for some reason.
Oh
It must
well,
be because I'm off it.
yeah, it's just you. Yeah, I can see your picture. Not your moving face, but I'm definitely moving and we're definitely live. So go for it.
Yep, we're definitely
Be all
live.
magical and stuff.
So join us for a live inauguration special on the YouTube link I'm posting to Facebook and Twitter. That's
That's right, kids.
it.
Welcome to a live fun and excitement time here on the Scotch Tracker. Obviously, I am definitely from the southern part of Scotland, if you can't tell from my awesome accent. Okay, you found out I'm really not from Scotland. I'm from Wales. What's up? I'm Welsh. No, I guess not that either.
Still sound
Um,
like
fine. American. I'll claim it. It's inauguration day. Come on. It's a day to be alive.
yeah. So
Celebrating 46.
yeah. Hi folks and welcome to a live inauguration.
What
Hi folks
up?
and welcome to a live inauguration special from the Scotch Tracker. Thank you for joining us. Whether you're watching this live or on repeat, congratulations to Joe Biden on becoming the 46th President of the United States and to Vice President Kamala Harris. Also, welcome to co-host Danielle, who has joined me tonight.
All the
Hi,
fun.
Danny.
All the fun. All the Danny
Do you
Danielle in
want
the
to
house.
tell us a bit about your background?
Sure.
What's your background regarding Star Trek?
So, regarding Star Trek,
Oh,
I am a massive fan, of course, of movies and TV. As a kid, I started off watching, some of the movies, which then the Next Generation came out. So, because I'm old enough to remember when it came out, and watching it on TV and going, wow, this is awesome. And then, of course, Deep Space Nine came out. And of course, that was better. And it's still the best Trek ever. So, but yes, I've definitely seen all the fun accoutrements, including most of Discovery, all of Picard, and some lower decks. I'm still working on it. Still getting into new Trek. So, it's a working process. It's a working process.
so the films were the first Star Trek you saw. Do you remember what film in particular?
I believe the first one I saw was Star Trek 4 because I remember
Oh,
like seeing it and going, "Oh, whales! I like whales," and I think it was more of like a
not the country.
one that you saw. I think I saw it on TV, and I mean, it wasn't one that I actually saw inside of like a movie theater. But I did see. I remember seeing 6 in the theater, the Undiscovered Country. So the final
Oh, yeah.
TOS movie was the first
That
one I
was
think I saw in
actually
the
the first
theater.
one I saw.
Yeah, that's what I said. I
Oh,
think
same
I'm
here.
pretty
Yeah.
sure I saw them on TV and I thought they were interesting, and then it went from there.
Hmm. Well,
Good
yeah, I thought
times.
6 was a great send off to the original series cast.
It was.
Yeah.
I thought I was like, I
So
really enjoyed it.
in total, 17 of the so far 46 US presidents have been represented in Star Trek, either referred to or appearing in the show. A deleted scene from Star Trek 4 The Voyage Home showed Mount Rushmore, featuring not only the real life presidents George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln, but also an African American female president. And the loosely version of Lincoln famously appeared in the TOS episode The Savage Curtain, and President Reagan actually visited the set of TNG during the production of that series. Do you have any favorite memories from seeing real life presidents in Star Trek?
Um, you know what? I guess it's really funny is that I've never really thought about
Mm,
I guess current presidents or even seeing past ones in them. But I find it really
mhm,
interesting. Like I guess currently, I think it's really interesting that, for example, Stacey Abrams, who was a pinnacle in helping Georgia pretty much flip blue, is a huge Voyager fan. I thought that was really interesting. Captain Janeway is her favorite captain, as we all have a favorite captain, Cisco. But I think that it's really interesting because I think that both sides of the spectrum have a love of Star Trek in different ways. And it a lot of times does bring people together. I think that people sometimes they forget those messages. Like they're into that message, then all of a sudden it just becomes my team, your team.
mm,
So that's why I think it's kind of interesting that you can have these different political leanings and still enjoy something.
mhm. Yeah, that's cool. I was thinking about there's a sequence in the Enterprise. I think it's in Stormfront two-parter where
Mhm.
Daniels and Archer are in the resetting time stream, and you see a few presidents there, like George W. Bush. I saw on Memory Alpha earlier today was one from the time stream, but I'm sure there's a few in that sequence. I thought it was quite cool.
I mean, it
Looking
happens
back,
because I mean, especially with, I mean, even though you have, all these different shows, and a lot of times you have captains that are from different countries. I'm looking at you, Jean-Claude. It's John said Jean-Claude. I almost called him Jean-Claude Van Damme. That's hilarious. Jean-Luc Picard, who is
Jean-Luc.
quite British, but yet from France and spoke French once in pretty much the
Yeah,
entire show. But I mean, a lot of times you have to admit, I mean, Star Trek is it definitely does a lot of American pop culture. It does a lot of Americanisms, which then later on kind of transfer to others. So it's a very interesting dichotomy how Star Trek really works out like that. I mean, you would think, I guess it's really kind of funny sitting here and thinking about it, you would think that they would use more, but I mean, they have used other political ideas and parties to, transfer shows into ideas. So like the show that was like banned for the long time in the UK, which was they compared it to the what was it, the Irish
mhm,
the IRA. And they, it's I forget the name of the show right now, but I just remember like Data was like, oh well, it's just like this and da 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 da. And
yeah.
then because I
I think it
didn't
was
realize that.
called the High Ground.
Yeah, and where Dr. Crusher gets kidnapped, and
Hmm.
so it's just really interesting that a lot of times, a lot of the, I guess, political things that you really think of, or more the poppy things of it are kind of, Americanized because it's an American show.
Hmm. Yeah. And well, you were talking about like Frenchisms. I was thinking about like how Q says "Mon Capitaine" and stuff like that. There's some French that Jean-Luc Picard doesn't use. Although even like the single instance when Picard did say French was not even on TNG, and not even in the TNG movies, but uh,
Well,
recently in the first season of Star Trek Picard.
actually, no, he did. He spoke French to Minuet when the
Oh right, okay.
Binars took over the ship.
Oh right.
So yeah, and they pretty much locked because he wasn't supposed to be
Also
on the ship.
flights
He was
then.
supposed to be wasn't he supposed to be getting his saddle to go riding and ended up being on it, or like no, or maybe confusing different ones. But I know that Will was in the holodeck and he meets Minuet because he's like, oh, I want, a brunette and smoking, and then they're in New Orleans and like jazz. And then the captain comes in and she starts speaking to him in French, and he says like a line to her in French and then back to English. And her French was definitely better than his.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
I think that was like the first season, second season. It's early ones.
Yeah. Well, it must have been that episode 11001001.
Yeah, that's
binary,
correct. Yeah.
Yeah, it was first season. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think. It's the first, because I mean, they still had they were very, very sailor-like onesies that before he could really do the Picard maneuver, gotta pull it down, tuck it down.
And I always remember like the stripes on the uniform as well. The black lines.
Yeah, the old what I would call them, like the sailor look, because I mean it's kind of like a naval academy anyway. So like U.S. sailors, they're very sailory look, and then all of a sudden they became a little less sailor look, but still everything's quite nautical in the sky, which is kind of funny because as I was watching, they did what was it, a couple of times they were presenting the flags, and when they went to Arlington Cemetery and where they were placing the wreath at the unknown soldier, I actually saw the the new Space Force flag, and I don't think I've ever actually seen it, and I went, oh, Space Force, it's still a thing. So
yeah, I've been looking into that recently. I've seen it on the website. There's a website called Google Trends, which is showing you like certain subjects that are trending currently, and Space Force. Well, I looked up Star Trek as a topic, and Space Force came up in like the top 5 or something.
The Guardians, because that's
like
what they're
that.
going to be called,
like
are
number
Guardians,
2. That's
and
like the logo.
they're apparently not going to be in Florida or Houston. I think they're going to be like
so,
in
like so many people
Alabama or
said
something.
But so many
really
people have said
interesting.
like the logo matches like the the Star Trek's Starfleet symbol. But then like I noticed William Shatner said, well, it's not one of those. It's actually an upside down logo, Pontiac logo.
That's what I know. For Space Force. Oh, that's okay. I have friends that whenever you say Space Force, they put up the Netflix show with Steve Carell. And they're like, here's your Space Force. So the Guardians. I'm like, okay. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. I don't really, I mean, it's kind of like, they're going to be Makos. I don't know how, like, for me, I like the idea of Star Trek where, it's exploring space, not military in space. So,
although I recently found out that one of Gene Roddenberry's original concepts for the show were that the Enterprise would include like Space Marines, basically.
Like Enterprise.
Yeah.
Because Enterprise had Mako. They had them on there.
Yeah, and in Star Trek Beyond. Looking back at what?
Oh no, I said, which is always interesting whenever you see that and you're like, oh, wow, that's a thing.
Yep. Looking back at the Federation presidents in Star Trek, canon establishes that Jonathan Archer from Star Trek Enterprise held office as have an unnamed human president in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, and the Frosian president in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, as well as President Jarish Inyo in the DS9 two-parter Homefront and Paradise Lost. We didn't get to see Archer as Federation president. He's simply referred to that way in a biographical screen in the two-parter In a Mirror Darkly. But who do you think did a better job at the Federation presidents we did get to see in action?
Ooh, that's hard. I'm like, that's a thinking question. What am I thinking of? You know what? I don't know if I could say which one did a better job. I think you have to say which one did what they could I mean, it's kind of like the same as when you look at almost any leader. I mean, there's definitely leaders who are awful. Not gonna name any, but there's a bunch that are terrible. However, at the same time, you have leaders who later on you find out that maybe they weren't as terrible. It's just kind of like the situations that they were kind of placed into not ones that they created, but ones that they were placed into, that maybe they had to make choices that could have gone either way. So I guess that's why I find it kind of hard, especially just watching like an episode and seeing a president in an episode and only seeing that person for that one time. You don't know what has led them to those decisions unless, you know, it's something that they're obviously going, ooh, he's very shady. This is me and my mustache. Meow, snidely. You know, so unless you know that they're twirling mustache evil, you have to give them this, you know, this benefit of the doubt, especially being that you expect Star Trek, you know, or at least for the Federation to be above the petty, as they always say, you know, be above, you know, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. So them being the few, looking out for the many, you always kind of feel like they would, you know, have a grasp to know what they need to do, or at least lean on those that they would hope would lead them in the best directions. So I can definitely tell you that there's definitely been ones that have unfortunately relied on bad information for them, or information that has been placed in front of them that they didn't know was bad because it's been manipulated. So once again, I can't blame that leader for it when others around them have done that. But as the same, once they realize that if they don't fix it, then they become part of the problem. So do you have one that you find to be like a standout of a leader?
I'd probably say, well, I really liked the scene where the human president, I think he's called Hiram or something like that in novels, in Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, at the end of that film where he demotes Kirk from admiral to captain, but nonetheless, like, places him still in command of the Enterprise. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's because he wanted that anyways.
Yeah.
Kirk gets admiral so quickly and gets demoted so fastly. It's the most. It's almost. It's like becomes like almost a joke after a while. He's like, and he even tells everyone, "Stay captain forever. Don't let them make you admiral. Don't let them do this." Then the next movie, he's an admiral, and then he becomes a captain again. And you're like, no, what?
And then by the time of Generations, he's advising Picard, it's like, don't let them make you an admiral.
Mm-hmm. That's what I said. I was like, you keep getting made an admiral, and then you're like, ah. So, oh, poor captains out there. They just, you know,
And
they don't know how to let it go sometimes.
And then I guess you've also got the you know, I was thinking, well, the was introduced in that same film, Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home, and then another member of that species was made the president in Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. And I was thinking both he and Jarashinyo basically have to lead the Federation in like times of jeopardy, or where you know it's at least personal jeopardy to they themselves, because like the president in hold on, we'll bring on Bob here.
Ooh, Bob's gonna join the party. Bob's gonna join the party. Here comes Bob. Bob has his own music. That's what I do. Bring it. Everyone gets a song as they come in. Hi, Bob.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hello.
We are good. Good.
Hi, Bob.
How are you all?
Welcome.
Sorry that I'm heading out in a car, but have to be, and thought I'd be able to at least join you for a little bit.
Oh yeah, Star Trek Inauguration Day.
Yes, on our America's big, and actually the world's big change.
Yes.
I know it's one for the better.
Agreed.
Oh, I think that's an understatement.
I know. Hey, you know what? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I think it's just, definitely a time for a change. And, I live and work in a community, even though my state is very, very blue, my county is very, very red. So, I come across people that, who are very staunch Trump people all the time. It's rare that I come across a car that doesn't have a Trump sticker on it or something like that, and it just, it's just so surreal. So, I mean, on my block alone, I've got houses that still, and here it is January, months after the election, are still flying the Trump flags.
Yeah,
Like the Twilight Zone.
it
I hate to
happens.
admit that, but it's true.
That's all right. I'm in Florida. It happens.
If you're in Florida, then you completely understand that. Yeah.
It happens.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I told everybody I was in Wales. Oh man, lies. So yeah, no, we were
Yeah.
discussing
the Federation presidents. Yeah. Well, I thought like the Federation president in Star Trek 6 is basically there's an assassination attempt on his mate's life, and the Jarrett Inyo in DS9 has to basically lead the Federation where there's like the threat of founder infiltration into the Federation basically on Earth.
I mean, you gotta love the founders. They gotta have style. At least if they're gonna infiltrate, they infiltrate in a way that makes it almost too easy.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you bring that one up because it's really kind of is that the founders even said they pretty much did nothing. All they did was scare, Earth to death to become like, and then kind of make it implode on itself. So gotta mirrors a couple of things that have happened here in the US and around the world.
It's the whole throwback to the classic Twilight Zone episode. What was it called? The Monsters on Maple Street, where where they just did a few things and everybody got paranoid and turned on each other. Kind of the same concept. And it was actually the military doing an experiment. It wasn't aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Deep Space Nine took it, a couple steps further and flopped it into the Star Trek universe and pretty much did the same thing.
Pretty much. Once again, making DS9 the best track ever.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Bob, we're besties now. We're besties.
Yep.
Okay.
I have always loved Deep Space Nine.
I'm like, come on, Cisco punched a Q. How can you not love DS9? Whack.
Plus, Armin Shimmerman, and we love Deep Space Nine to begin with, but we learned that Armin Shimmerman has a connection with one of the towns in my county. So when we found out about this at the time the show was going on, we went to Lakewood and said, hey, you have a famous alum that went to your high school. And without much questions asked, they gave us this beautiful trophy to present to him, or plaque, I forgot what it was, at a convention. And the funniest thing is that, and I never let him forget it, my exo, Jeff Victor. So if you ever come across him, somehow bring that topic up, because he was in his dress uniform, the next gen dress uniform in blue, because he was in medical. And Armin Shimmerman was so flustered when he got this award that he went. We were all on stage when we presented it, and he shook my hand, and to every member that he thought was female, he kissed, including Jeff. So I said, you had serious FaceTime with Armin Shimmerman. We never let him forget it. Of course, now he's like in his close to 40, and he hasn't worn that uniform for a very long time, but, it was cool at the time.
That's actually fun.
Yeah. All our many encounters with celebs from Star Trek, that one really, goes down as one of the funniest.
That's what we'll have to do one day. Have a discussion on Trek celebs that we met and stories about it, because it'd be fun. Because I have fun stories.
But speaking on the subject of DS9, earlier today I read a tweet from another of the Star Trek social media accounts which reported President Biden has said it's time for America to come together, repair differences, and remaster Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Joking
Yes!
aside, joking aside, however, is a DS9 re-release in HD something you're hopeful will happen?
Yes, I would get it on. I would actually get it on digital because I do actually still buy DVDs, but it would just probably be easier at this point because since it's so many DVDs. But I would happily buy it because right now, I mean, I watch it all the time on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's great cleaning material. You know, when I'm like, oh, when I can pay attention but not pay attention, as opposed to, you know, if I need to sleep, then I put on some other Trek that may be a little not exciting. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
You know, the funniest thing in our household, you know, because my wife that's how we met through Star Trek, through a convention, and through Starfleet.
Ooh.
And that was more than 20 years ago. But
Aw.
when we try to actually make a time, we never get to see Discovery because every time we say, hey, let's sit down and do a binge watch or at least an episode or two of Discovery, because we watch the H&I channel, that's her go-to in the evening, which has all the Star Treks on. She always ends up watching the rerun, even though we have CBS All Access, even though we have all the Next Gen episodes and Deep Space Nine episodes on DVD. She'll get hooked into Next Gen, and then of course afterwards DS9. So we never on a weeknight end up watching Star Trek Discovery because we watch our own freaking Star Trek reruns on the H&I channel, which has commercials. So it makes no sense, but that's the way it is.
We do it on BBC if I'm watching BBC. Because if we're watching like
right.
Doctor Who and stuff, and they do it on BBC America, it's the best.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, Doctor Who's on. Oh, Star Trek's on. Aw.
BBC shows more Star Trek than they do Doctor Who at times.
Yes, they do. I'm going to have to agree with you. Yes, they do.
Oh.
It's interesting.
I know.
So is there
Welcome to us.
is there a BBC America channel?
Yes, BBC
Oh,
America. Yeah, we watch. It's closer, I think, to BBC One.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think that's the main, and that BBC One, like the main one. So we get like those kind of shows, and then randomly randomly have Star Trek on it as well. So yeah, because most of the shows that anyone really, I guess, I would say popular shows would be like either Doctor Who or Killing Eve. I remember when they had like what was it, Class for a hot moment.
Yeah.
And then they got and I think we all tried to watch it and nobody was watching it, so they took that one off. But it's a lot of random reruns. There's not a lot of British shows on BBC America. It's the weirdest thing.
Did Class come on after
Doctor Who?
The Sarah Jane adventures ended,
Oh, yeah, Sarah Jane was
unfortunately,
on there,
because of her untimely passing, or was it going on at the same time? I don't remember.
No, it was after.
Okay.
Class was after.
Okay, I kind of figured.
Oh, we've got another co-host joining.
Oh,
We've
the
got
plot
another co-host joining.
thickens.
Let's bring in. Let's bring in Maria.
Dun 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 dun. Maria's here. Go Maria. Yeah. See, everyone gets a song.
Maria Doodley, it's the one and only pirate captain.
That's right. Arg!
Arr.
Arg!
How you doing, Maria?
I'm doing excellent. How are you doing on this wonderful day in America? America!
Your audio is a bit loud.
Maria's gonna blank us all out.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like,
I'm driving because I'm unfortunately on my way to a boring Board of Education meeting. But when you just did that, the Bluetooth in my car just blinked out and then it came back. So no one's ever done that before, Maria. You are,
numero uno on that.
I'm special.
Yeah. You're the pirate, captain, queen, singer.
There you go.
I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I have a song or two. I've already sang a bunch.
Right.
I sang you and Bob. I sang Maria and I'm just saying,
All
you
right.
can be the pirate queen.
There you go. Woohoo!
I'm like, yes, I know. Celebrating, hashtag America.
Right.
Hashtag America. We're back.
Right.
American.
Yeah, shoot. I celebrated by getting a nice lunch / dinner at Red Lobster. I got lobster tail, shrimp, snow king crab legs. I lived it up, and I'll top it off with those yummy, delicious cheddar biscuits.
That is
Ooh,
that's so American. There's only
I
one
haven't been
thing
there
more.
in far too long. Now, and we have a Red Lobster around here too, so I
Yeah.
don't know.
And they have curbside, so you don't even have to go into the restaurant.
Ooh,
Yep. Ooh.
I know. Poor
that
Dan.
idea.
He's like he's stuck at home because hashtag America. We just keep going out anyways.
Right, exactly.
400,000 people dead. Oops. But
Whoops.
hey,
Yeah.
cheddar biscuits.
That's right, cheddar
It's like
biscuits.
cheddar biscuits.
We're
So
in
hashtag
Florida.
America.
Where in Florida are you, and is it anywhere near Bradenton by any chance?
No, it's not. I mean, Florida's also a peninsula, so it's not like it's like a long way away. But I'm in Central Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my in-laws are in Manatee County, in
Yeah.
Bradenton. So it's just, I always ask that because Florida's so big that it seems like anytime that I mention like where are you from, they're like nowhere near Manatee County.
Well, no. I am not from Florida at all. You said, did I
Oh.
live somewhere? The answer is yes. I am not Florida woman.
No, but
Though
I mean, you're living
Florida
there.
Florida man just moved to Palm Beach, but I'm like not Florida woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not claiming this state.
Ah.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, hopefully, for Dan's sake, that Trump doesn't go over to Scotland to his golf course. we don't want Dan to deal with American trash.
Yeah, but our loss would be your bigger loss. But we don't want him back. Pull his passport.
Didn't we try that
I
before?
think
We're like,
Melania
"Oh,
did the same, I think Melania's like, yep, we're done. Where's the paperwork?
Yeah.
oh, Dan, this has gone to a whole new level of crazy. You know this, right?
Oh, yeah.
You invite a bunch of Americans on an inauguration day that are way. I was trying to be diplomatic. Of course, I'm way overly excited
Yeah.
that
Well,
Colt 45 is not in. Ugh.
Yeah.
it's
Shoot, I celebrated with cheddar biscuits. You can't top my enthusiasm.
No, I was gonna celebrate with tacos. I'm
There
gonna
you
make
go.
tacos for dinner because you know
There you
why?
go.
Hashtag America.
That's right.
That's what we do. Cheddar biscuits, tacos.
There you go. Live it
Bob,
up.
what are you celebrating with, Bob?
You gotta
When I
celebrate,
get-
Bob.
When I get back from this boring meeting, which I hope it's not long, my wife is cooking like some kind of thing with peppers, and I watched her on the island. We have the all the ingredients and stuff on the island, and it has got tomatoes. So I'm not sure what it is, but I'm sure it'll be good.
There you go. Hashtag
But you
America.
should do.
Home cooked meal.
What you should do, Bob, you just like call up the wife and say, guess what? We're getting cheddar biscuits.
Cheddar biscuits.
She would love that. I couldn't drag her into a Red Lobster though, because she's not a seafood person. But
Right.
but she would definitely do the biscuits. She would love that.
Neither is Red Lobster. Now we have to send. Hey, so Dan, have you had cheddar biscuits?
No.
We need to send him some cheddar biscuits.
We need to send him some cheddar
Well,
biscuits.
well, actually, we can send you. They just we just send you the box and you just add water because I've made them once. They have like
So-
you can actually make them at home.
Yeah, you
all
So
the
I
can.
was
cheddar
thinking, like,
biscuits.
what from Star Trek would you celebrate with? I was thinking maybe like Chanya or Romulan Ale.
Oh gosh, where would I celebrate with? Quark. I'd be at Quark's bar.
I'll
I
be a
normally-
Cornish bar too.
I would, yeah, because I normally have my Quark's bar shirt on,
Yeah.
and I mean, I would be like, hey, can I get a Saurian brandy over here?
Ah, that's
Ramen and ale. I don't care. I'm
Right.
like, what was that cool sunrise thing that Guinan made that one time that Data hated? I'll take one of those.
Oh yeah, those look good. Yeah.
Those look
Is that the
delicious.
Solarian sunrise or
Yeah, the
something?
Solarian sunrise. I'll take one of those. I'm like, "Nah, it's delicious. So I'll even, you know what? I would even drink some Klingon blood wine, even though I feel like it would get put hair on my chest. I'd try it once. I can shave. It's cool. My husband will still love me. He'll
Yeah,
accept me.
there you go.
Or it'll make me hot Klingon, and then I'll have to wear leather. So,
Oh, there you go.
and then, put the bustier all up in there. But then, then I'd have to always be like this if we ever talk, because I'll be way too much everything
Right.
falling out. Poor Dan. He's like, what did
Poor Dan,
what
he's
did
like-
I He's like, what just happened? What I
No,
don't
I was thinking-
understand.
We have
I was
at least
thinking
three
probably the wrong
rowdy
choice to
Americans
celebrate.
here, so
I was thinking probably the wrong choice to celebrate for something to celebrate with would be gach, I guess.
Ugh.
Yeah, there's just
And also,
just-
I've been thinking about how, like, even in modern tracks, like the Federation President's been mentioned in Discovery season 3, with Admiral Vance kept making references to the Federation President. You don't see who it is, but it's still current in modern
Alright.
track. Yeah.
I'm sure this question has come up to you before, being Scottish, but
Mm.
in America, probably one of the worst episodes, and I think this is probably is universally accepted.
Yes.
Star Trek Next Generation is the
Yes.
show, is the episode Sub Rosa. But how do you feel about that episode? Because it kind of bring a little bit of Scotland on Next Gen, even though it was a freaking bad episode,
Oh, it was terrible.
Oh,
even with such talent as Duncan Regehr, and he's a good actor, but it
Such
was a bad script.
Well, there's
I mean-
there's so many like Scottish stereotypes and stereotypical Scots in it.
That's what I figured. They must have thrown every single stereotype you could possibly imagine
It's been
into that episode.
ages
mean-
since I've seen that episode. So, what particular Scottish stereotypes were in that episode? It's been so long since I've seen that awful episode.
Yeah,
Sub Rosa,
me too,
it's where
really.
it's okay. I was thinking of a different one until I realized Sub Rosa is the one where Beverly's grandmother had died. And
the
then
ghost
that
in the lantern.
I was thinking that other one with the Mary Posons and the remember they were like all the farm animals and stuff, and they brought them in.
No, they're
I was
Irish.
thinking-
They were Irish. They were
Irish. Okay, I
believe.
couldn't. Okay, yeah, because I mean that one was terrible as well. I couldn't remember which one. I was like,
Up the
Sub-
long
Well,
ladder.
Riker
Yeah.
got a little action out of that one, but
I mean, because he's a
first
hoe.
season.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was the
Because
first
he's
season,
a
so
hoe.
we can give it a pass. It was the first season. Almost all of them were questionable, but
I mean, I don't know. I still think the worst. I don't know. The one with I'm trying to think of what it's called. The one where it was like the African culture, but it was
Code of Honor.
really
Code of
that
Honor.
one's terrible.
Oh,
That
yeah,
one-
that was bad.
That's
yeah.
probably
It
one
was-
of the
it was
worst. I'm like, really? And it's very 80s and it's just very off. It's just
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
It was so bad, even the cast hates it. They all hate
Yeah.
it. They're all like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that
this
awful.
was not good. I know we should, that's a bad thing. We should not
Yeah.
do this. So I'm like,
That should have been known at the time too. I
Ugh.
think it went through several rewrites. They had 3 people putting it together, and there was no overview to look at it and say, this is crap, and we should just scrap the whole script or massively change the story, or make alterations at the very least. But nobody, I think, was really in charge for that particular episode. And from what I understand, the writer or director never worked for Next Gen again.
good.
Good, good, good.
That
We're
was
spared that. But
But
by the time Sub Rosa was coming around, they were pretty much well
he
into
knew
their
better.
prime.
He knew better.
And you'd have known that there was no excuse for that drivel, you know.
Yeah.
It was, it's a space opera.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was thinking
Space soap
the writing
opera.
staff of TNG was basically in flux until like season 3.
Yeah.
There was some. What do you call it? Clinkers.
There's some clunkers.
Yeah, they're clunkers. There's
Yeah.
some lemons. Yeah.
There's
Whatever.
some there's some straight up lemons in that. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I think
Sub
I
Rosa
mean,
reminded me of a bad Lost in Space episode where they would identify, and I think there was a bad Lost in Space episode, which is probably an oxymoron comment. But wasn't there a bad Lost in Space episode where they did adopt a Scottish theme to it, where they called it the Ghosties, and they had the swamp monster, and Will Robinson and Dr. Smith, who were of course the stars of the show, where they, there was some Scottish ghost. It hurts my brain just to even think about it. But
I have no idea. I've never seen it.
Yeah, I never saw that.
I'm like,
you didn't miss much. It was only slightly better than the famous Carrot Man Alien episode of Lost in Space, played by a Star Trek connection, Stanley Adams, who was Cyrano Jones. So not only was Cyrano Jones selling triples in Star Trek, he was promoting carrots, in Lost in Space.
oh gosh, that's
Dressed as a giant carrot man.
Wow.
that's
And that was a 3rd season episode too, when things actually were getting better for Lost in Space.
All right. Wow, they dropped the ball on that one.
that's a big ball.
But I was thinking, even though like I find it to be like really quite stereotypical, like in the portrayal of Scots people in that episode, I thought it was sort of still cool that because I didn't think like there had been many Scots. I can't really remember many Scots since Scotty, obviously.
That's
So
Yeah.
I thought it was cool that they were like going to that attempt to sort of feature like other cultures, a bit like when I saw there's a Short Track episode where I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, with Spock's first day on Enterprise basically, and they get stuck with number 1, Una, her name is.
and they're in the turbo
Yeah,
lift.
that was good. Yeah.
Turbo lift.
I actually like
Yeah.
that. I like
And
that
you
one.
hear you hear on the little comm unit there's a Welsh voice that answers, and I thought, oh, it's been ages since. In fact, I can't even remember a Welsh person in track before that. So yeah, I thought like similar.
Yeah.
So then, as someone who
Go
is
to the
Scottish,
next.
what do you think of Scotty then, or the portrayal of Scotty as a Scotsman?
I've always really liked Scotty, yeah.
Huh?
Even though the
Oh, yeah. I know. I meant like. I mean,
even though
like, just
it's clearly like what he's clearly like even conceived as like a stereotypical Scot, because like James Stewart, what accent should I choose to play this part? And he thought, well, he's an engineer. So many engineers are Scottish. So like in that way, it was sort of like
all right.
conceived
I got
as
this.
stereotypical Scot, and his accent, I would say, isn't like completely Scottish. I think, or Scottish sounding. I think
That's what Americans think Scots sound like.
Yeah, right.
yeah. Well, although he was Canadian, but I thought that Simon Pegg did a better version actually in like the Star Trek 2009,
But I think
Into Darkness and Beyond.
his wife is
those
Scottish,
films.
because I think that's what he said he got it
Yeah,
from, was
yeah.
to go towards her and
Yeah.
try to do it. So I was just,
Yeah.
it's always I was like, that's always an interesting one. I know.
So his
Well,
accent was more on point. The
What-
2009 Scotty, the 2009
Yeah.
Scotty, that was more.
Yeah.
That accent was more on
Definitely.
point.
I thought his accent seems to basically get better and more convincing or whatever as a Scotsman as the film series goes on. I thought it was slightly not quite there. I thought in Star Trek 2009, but then maybe like by the time Into Darkness and Beyond, it's improving by then. I would say.
It's like that's always fun. I'm like, I actually really love Simon Pegg, so I loved him as Scotty. When it comes to like new Trek the movies, I mean, my favorite is always gonna be Carl Urban, outside the fact that he's gorgeous and beautiful. But he's definitely McCoy.
Oh,
I like
Yeah.
he's
Oh, yeah, he did a good
spot
job.
on. But he's
awesome.
and he does such wonderful accents that people forget he's Australian.
Right. But
Until
he
you
took-
hear
Carl Urban
forgot
took
that
a
he was
lot
in
of time. He took a lot of time to study DeForest Kelly's mannerisms, everything.
like I'm like, out of everyone who portrayed something, he was on. He was like, I would say he was like, because I know, I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of hard. You don't want to be William Shatner. Because
Right.
being so I liked that Chris Pine was still very much Kirk without, I mean, except for at the very end he was like bones, and I was like, I see what you did there. So that worked out really well. Or having like Anton Yelchin do like the Chekhov, but be more actual, more style of Russian more so. But I thought that was kind of cool. But man, Carl Urban.
Yeah, he was so on point, and this is documented that Leonard Nimoy actually cried because he like that it's documented that Leonard Nimoy is like, oh my gosh, that's DeForest.
It's him. It's just him. I'm like, oh my gosh.
You can't get any bigger compliment than that. You can't.
Like,
I also thought it was cool that the James Doohan's son was in those films as the transporter operator of the Enterprise with Chris Doohan.
He did. Yep.
I think he's also in like Star Trek Continues and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty cool.
I need to see those. I've just never been able to, but I've always wanted to see them. I've heard they're fantastic. So it's on my to-do list with also the multiple books that are now on my bookshelf. But I've read a few of them.
Yeah.
I'll read some more.
I watched all of the Star Trek Continues, the fan film series. I thought it was
they are fantastic.
Yeah.
But I think aren't they not able to do them anymore because of CBS or something weird like that? Or
there's some
There
legal
were limitations placed on them, but they did conclude. I think they were planning on concluding it anyway.
Yeah, they were. And CBS produced like a list of basically restrictions and what fan films should do just before Star Trek Continues came to an end, which they were planned, as you say, they were planned to do anyway.
Yeah. I feel like that's such a lost opportunity for CBS because that's one of the things that George Lucas actually really enjoyed about Star Wars and stuff like that. I feel like he was like, he actually praised them and thought they were great and helped keep them relevant and, keeping a fan base. But I don't know, CBS, I think it's a lost opportunity with them. And I actually don't have CBS All Access. I watched the first 2 seasons of Discovery, and the 3rd season, it's on my to-do list. It's just not high on my list.
Yeah.
Well, I recommend it as well.
Yeah, I got to catch up too.
So I know.
I'm all caught up
I'm
on
way behind
Discovery.
on
I absolutely
Discovery.
love Discovery. Absolutely love that show. Great stuff.
I'm like,
so
we'll have to have
the other day-
a Discovery discussion one day.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was reading the other day about the fan film of Gods and Men that was produced in 2006 for the 50th anniversary of Star Trek, but was then, or was it 2016? Can't remember. 1966 plus 50. Can't do the maths in my head. But anyway, yeah, we postponed like a year. So it didn't ultimately manage to celebrate the 50th. I think because of CBS. And like at the time, Tim Russ, who plays Tuvok on Star Trek Voyager, was trying to like, it seems like facilitate negotiations with CBS where they would actually release it, but even that fell through. So yeah, there hasn't unfortunately been any. There hasn't been any fan films released basically with CBS backing. Although like even like Gene Roddenberry's son, Rod Roddenberry, was saying like he considers Star Trek continues canon
Yeah.
because it's so effective.
I think that it has more of a retro feel than we got with Enterprise. It really their use of the incidental music, the sets, that's the direction that I think that even Discovery, as nice looking as it is, should have gone to in setting the show in that time frame. I think though that Discovery realized their error and put it in another time frame that is probably better suited to their
technology,
their special effects and the technology and the very nice way, the way it's shot, the way it's everything looks. But when the first season we looked at it, it was like, yeah, this isn't like our Star Trek. I mean, it's got some interesting stories, but this is an alternate, version, parallel universe kind of thing. That's the feeling I got. Even though I like it, but it just felt way too fancy. And when we saw the Enterprise, it's like, what, are you kidding me? You modernized the Enterprise? What was wrong with it, the original? Like, why? Why would you muck that up?
I did like the TOS uniforms though in Discovery. I think they're beautiful.
Oh yeah,
So
nice.
that's the one. They're really, because they're so vibrant. The colors are so vibrant because the Discovery uniforms are they're like jumpsuits, but comfortable, and they all wore tennis shoes. It was the one thing that I was really excited about. No one was in no high stepping boots. Everyone looked like they were in practical footwear. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I love my Ahurus, my TOS dresses that I have. Even though I do wear leggings under them because no one needs to see my tail feathers.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Like,
I got your horse dress. I know exactly. I am picking up what you put.
Yes. I'm like, I don't care what size you are. You gotta watch how you bend over in that. You better learn do a lady scoop if you want to not see your lady parts. I'm like, whoa, dear. Put some leggings on with that, honey. We all see you.
But even then, like recently I was reading that what's her name? Sally Kellerman that played Elizabeth Daner in even like the second pilot, Where No Man Has Gone Before, and they wore trousers for like the cage and Where No Man Has Gone Before, but she still had like problems with the costume showing off her nether regions.
Right? Because you're like, I'm just saying, because they still, those are made to scale, and the scale that it is needs more scales. I need, can I have gotten like 3 more inches of fabric? Just 3? Right. I'm like, it didn't even have to be at my knee, but can it be a little less at my butt?
Right, exactly.
Or
That's also a problem that Zoe Saldana's had as well.
Yes, because even she's quite tall. So imagine, and I'm short. I'm like, I've been next to other people. I'm 5'3.5". And if I think that this is, whoa, I'm like, anyone else who's taller than I am, it's under their navel. I don't understand. Like, it's at the navel. I'm like, oh, well, this is okay. Here, let me put more. Here's another dress. I'm just going to tie that dress around that dress. And now it's a mini skirt. Good job.
Yeah.
Speaking of jobs, I have a job to do, which is to make tea. because
right.
dinner is delicious and we
Right.
need to eat it.
There you go.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
I cannot wait to chat with you folks another
Right,
time
exactly. It was
soon.
nice meeting you. I haven't met you yet. Nice meeting you.
So
Nice meeting you.
nice meeting you guys. Choose, party on,
Party
and
on.
46 in the house.
46. Woo!
Yeah, we got an adult in the house.
All
All
right.
right. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.
Take care.
Live long and prosper. Bye. So I'll just wrap up here.
Yeah, we might as well just wrap up because
Yep.
it's dinner time out here
Yep.
in the States. So
Yep, sure.
Cool.
No problem.
all
So
right, well, I'm glad I was able to stop by.
we
Yeah,
certainly
it
will.
was fun.
Thank you very much for joining me tonight or today. We certainly wish all the best to the Biden administration. See you next time for a chat about the best way to watch Star Trek. Join us on Saturday when we'll be discussing that subject at 10 a.m. EST, which is 3 p.m. in Greenwich Mean Time or 7 p.m. Pacific. But for now, please press the like and subscribe buttons so that you can get notified when we do live specials like this. Thanks again for joining us. We definitely appreciate it, and we hope you've enjoyed watching too. Check you later.